Ayo, who is this servant? But before I get into it, let me give all glory and honor and praise, Barakatah, unto you, Ahaya of heaven's armies. All praise to you, my King, for you is the King of kings, or the Malak of Malaks, or Malak Shah, Malak. I love you, Ahava, Ahaya. All glory unto you. Now, who is this servant? Is it the seed of David, who is in captivity and shall rise and be anointed by the Father, by Abba, Ahaya? Or is it Yasharala? Now I understand there are 4 servant songs. It's Isaiah chapter 42, chapter 49, chapter 50, and chapter 52. Them are the 4 servant songs. So people read that and they be like, okay, now we know who the servant is, because it says it's Yasharala. And to some degree, that's very true. But here in particular, this servant here in particular is talking about the Mashiach. And I'm not talking about the New Testament Mashiach, that idol. I'm talking about the true Mashiach, the true anointed one of Ahaya, who resides in captivity among you, speaking unto you, reigning from the loins of King Dawid. He's here among you. And this particular chapter and book speaks of him, not Yasharala. Now let's read. Ahaya, chosen servant, look at my servant, whom I strengthen. So Ahaya is going to strengthen him before the nations, before the people, to do his work, right? He is my chosen one who pleases me. So Ahaya has chosen him, and his will is Ahaya's will. Carry the same spirit, because I have put my spirit upon him, and he will bring justice to the nations. Then it says, see the Mashiach, the true Mashiach from the loins of Dawid, who is in captivity among his people, watching his people shout on these corners and screaming and belittling and exalting the idol of the New Testament. But the Mashiach can't do that. He won't be out there doing that. So you have somebody in your organization, congregation, or your movement who does such things like speak out on the corners, any way, shape, form, or fashion, trying to bring attention or awareness to his people. He's not the servant. He's not the anointed Mashiach to come, who will do such things as this chapter is going to express. So verse 2, it says, he will not shout or raise his voice in public. And also, he will not crush the weakest reed. What does that mean? That means if a person have little faith, or they may be doubtful, hopeless, they may be ignorant, to an extent, right? Or cast away, or, they may have whatever issues they may have that's bothersome to them, that's enabling them to truly understand Abba Ahaya, or his people, or himself. The Mashiach will not crush him by telling him that he's hopeless, that he has no point of living, that he might as well just go over there and do that. He might as well stay in the idol, that this walk ain't for you, or you can't do this, belittling, talking about him, bringing him low. The true Mashiach will not do that, because he will not crush the weakest reed. If you go to the fields, like, say we in the fields, and the grass bushes, right? That's reeds. You see how thin they are, when the wind blows, they can move to the left, move to the right. So they're very light, and it's easy to break, easy to crush. So you have to be very gentle and delicate with it. And if not, you can easily break it. So that's how the Mashiach is supposed to be with his people. Very delicate, that he does not crush the weakest link of his people that is in a lower state of low faith. When why not? Verse 3, right? Then it says, or put out a flickering candle. That put out of a flickering candle is if that person has just a little peak interest, a little hope. The Mashiach will not turn him with his words or his actions and make him go on another course, seek an idol, be of the world or whatever. He will strengthen that weak link with the words of compassion, understanding, love, tenderness, mercy, care of Abba, the Father. He will install that in them, him or her, young or old, light skin, dark skin, doesn't matter. If you are of my people, you shall be strengthened with the tender mercies of Dawid. And allow Dawid to give you the mercies that's coming from a higher, and that's compassion and hope. So verse 3 still, then it says, he will bring justice to all who have been wrong, the remnant, right? His people who's been going through these curses, injustice, this cruelty, being humiliated, being mocked, belittled, cast away, murdered, killed, drugged, raped. I can keep going. But he will bring justice to those who, suffer from things like that. Then verse 4, it says, he will not falter. Who is he? The Mashiach in captivity. So let's just say the Mashiach will not falter or lose heart, courage, faith, until justice prevails throughout the earth or the land. Even distant lands beyond the sea will wait for what? His instructions, his law. Because the Mashiach has a law of his own too, and that's the law of mercy, compassion, understanding. His will shall be the will of Abba. It shall be one and the same. And you will not be able to hold the Mashiach unto certain things that you will hold your husband, your brother, a friend, your family, another person. For the Mashiach has a law of his own that he carries as well. And he carries the law of a higher. In its truth. In its truth he carries it. Not partially. Not with arrogance or pride. But in its truth. And comes with compassion. Now verse 5. A higher or power. A higher created the heavens and stretched them out. A higher created the earth and everything in it. A higher gives breath to everyone, all creeds of the earth. All creeds. A higher is for all people who want to seek a higher. He's for you, no matter your color, your race, your age, your gender. He's for all people. It says gives breath to everyone. All people is his children. All people are highest children. But Yasharallah is his inheritance, who he made a covenant with. And we have the obligations of the covenant. But all people are his children. So don't run nobody away from a higher. For a higher is for all people. All people are his people. Then it goes, where am I at, you guys? Okay. Then it says, life to everyone. He gives breath to everyone, life to everyone who walks the earth. And it is Ahiah who says, I, Ahiah, have called you to demonstrate my righteousness. He's talking to the Mashiach. I will take you by the hand and guard you, and I will give you to my people, Yasharallah, because the Mashiach is king, governor over the nation of Yasharallah. That's why he says such things, because of that in particular. So, give me 1 second, you guys. Give me 1 second, you guys. Sorry about that. Alright, take a break right quick. Alright, hold on. Had to step out. It's kind of loud in there. So let me just stand right here. Okay. Let me find out where I was at again. You know, I did not want to lose my train of thought. You know how it is when you into it and you don't lose your train of thought because somebody walk in and you're like, nah, you don't want to lose it. That's where I'm at right now. But demonstrate my righteousness in verse 6. And I will take you by the hand and guard you, and I will give you to my people, Yasharallah, as a symbol of my covenant with them. And you will be a light to guide the nations, the Gentiles, all people. So the Mashiach, the seed of David, who was in captivity among his people, will be a demonstration, an example, and will exhibit the compassion and the understanding and the strength of his Abba, for it is Ahiah who strengthens him, as foretold, right? It's in verse 7. Then it says, you will open the eyes of the blind, those who truly can't see, or this is the Mashiach, open the eyes of the blind, those who can't see, may not understand, may see what's going on, but can't really, it's kind of foggy. It's not clear to them. Then it says, the Mashiach will free the captives from prison, prisoner of the mind. And this can be also literally. Then it also says, releasing those who sit in dark dungeons, Then verse 8, I am Ahiah, that is my name. Then Ahiah says, I will not give my glory to anyone else, nor share my praise with carven idols. So no idols and images will Ahiah give his glory unto. He's telling you right now, Ahiah is his name. I will give no glory to anyone else. So that cancels out. He's not even giving glory to them idols in the New Testament, in the Quran. Anything outside of his word, no one gets the glory over him, Then verse 9, everything I prophesied has come true, and now I will prophesy again, and I will tell you, the Mashiach, he will tell the Mashiach the future before it happens. So you may have knowledge, you may have understanding, you may know this, you may put this together, but it's certain things that he's going to tell the Mashiach, the seed of Dawid. Things he's going to let him know of the future. So anyone out there claiming to be the Mashiach from the seed of Dawid here in captivity, or even left the captivity, if Ahiah is not letting you know things of the future, he's not appearing unto you in dreams and visions that are truthful and not delusions, right? If he's not showing you even through the book, any kind of way, form, or fashion that he operates through the Mashiach, then you're not it. If you don't have an understanding of what's going on, if he's not telling you. I'm trying to decide if I want to continue going. Let's just continue going. Song of Prayer, verse 10. Sing a new song to Ahiah. Sing his praises from the ends of the earth. Sing, all you who sail the seas, all you who live in distant coastlands, all of us. Join in chorus, let's make a melody. You desert towns, let the villages of Kedar rejoice. Let the people of Selah sing for joy. Shout praises from the mountaintops. Let the whole world glorify Ahiah. Let it sing his praise. Ahiah will march forth like a mighty hero. He will come out like a warrior full of fury. He will shout his battle cry and crush all his enemies. See, this is Ahiah delivering us, And bringing down those who have dominion, these monarchs, these illuminated boys, you know what I'm saying? These bankers, all of them, all who has a hand in keeping us as captives. Then Higher says he will say, 14, Ahaya will say, I have long been silent. Yes, I have restrained myself, but now, like a woman in labor, you know how a woman in labor, you know how loud she is, like a woman in labor, I will cry and groan and pant for his people to bring them back. I will level the mountains and hills and blight all their greenery, this restoring the green hills and, like he said, what was that? What the promise? Land of milk and honey, right? And green valleys, green lands. Oh, this a beautiful scene. Don't get me started on Higher with that right there. Then he says, I will turn the rivers into dry land. You know what? Let me take that back, because that's not what he's saying right here in verse 15. He says, I will level the mountains and hills and blight all their greenery. So he's killing it. I'm sorry. He's deading all of that. You know what I'm saying? Because then he says, I will turn the rivers into dry lands and will dry up all the pools. So that's why you see like water shortages throughout the earth. And especially you see the oceans drying up. You see the rivers drying up. Like you see these things, a shortage in the water. Because like he said, I want to dry up the pools. He's taking away the increase of the crops and the resources of the land, especially where we are among these nations. Then it says, I will lead blind Yasharallah down a new path. So a lot of y'all talking like you know and understand. A lot of people do this for clout. A lot of people do this for monetary gain. A lot of people don't do this for truth and to exercise, like to exercise that opportunity to be humble and teach the people what's truly going on, because people don't know. They lost as well. They don't know when the Higher is coming back. They don't know what Higher is doing. They just know the book. They scholars, you know what I'm saying, but they don't understand the Higher, because he's not letting them know. So that's why Higher says, I will lead blind Yasharallah down a new path, because what you think is going to happen, what you think is going to take place, what you think is going forth, it's not. It's a new way he has to present. Then it says, guiding them along an unfamiliar way. See, guiding an unfamiliar way. I will brighten the darkness before them and smooth out the roads ahead of them. Yes, I will indeed do these things. I will not forsake them. But those who trust in idols, who say, you are my idol, or you are my gods, will be turned away in shame. So those who stay into idolatry, stay into the New Testament, stay into whatever you into. You can be into yourself, money, fashion. You can be into whatever you into, you will be turned away in shame. Then it says, Yasharallah's failure to listen and see. Now this is real key. The failure. Listen to their failures to listen and see. Verse 18. Then Ahaya says, listen, you who are deaf. Look and see, you blind. Talking to us. Depth of hearing the message from the messenger, or hearing it even from Ahaya. And it says, listen, you who are deaf. Look and see, you blind, who can't understand what's going on. It's not clear to you. Then it says, who is as blind as my own people? Ahaya says, right? My servant, because this book is about the servant. So it's talking about Yasharallah too. But then it says, who is as deaf as my messenger? Now that's talking about the seed of Dawid. That's talking about the Mashiach. See, even the seed of Dawid is going to struggle and not listen, be doubtful, all of that. That's part of the curses. That's part of Isaiah 53 as well. You know? So he has to humble himself as well. And he has to present a guilt offering as well. he resonates with his people as well because he's among them. So they're one and the same here, even here as being blind and being deaf, So this is why Ahia says in, a few verses up that he has to show the Mashiach the future because he's blind too to it. He's blind to a lot of things. But so then verse 19 still, who is as blind as my chosen people, the servant of Ahia? You see and recognize what is right. Oh, look at that. You see and recognize what is right. You see it, but you refuse to act on it. See that? See, now that's the difference. Now I see the difference between being blind, the way that Ahia is putting it. He's like, you see it? Like, let's just look at us right now. Let's look at us and look at people. They see what's going on, but they still doing it. It's like people see what's happening to people with the vaccines and the COVID, but they still go get a vaccine for the COVID, like for this COVID pandemic, because they're afraid of losing their job, afraid to change, or afraid of committing to a higher, or just don't know, or maybe ignorant. But they still see what's going on because the writing is on the wall. People see, but they don't act upon it. You know what I mean? They don't act upon it. Then it says you hear with your ears, but you don't really listen, because Ahia is righteous, and Ahia has exalted his glorious law. But his own people have been robbed and plundered, enslaved, imprisoned, and trapped. So these are, we still up under these conditions and the curses. You see, the top part up here is talking about that's during the time of deliverance and good. But the bottom part right here that we're reading is before the deliverance. It's the time in captivity. You know what I mean? So you just got to put it in its place. The top part is during the time of deliverance. The bottom part that he's talking right now, the failures to listen and see, is before deliverance. So this is us now, how we are. So then it says, but his own people, verse 22, but his own people have been robbed and plundered, enslaved, imprisoned, trapped. They are their game. They are fair game for everyone because they just put themselves out there. You know what I'm saying? They're prey. Put themselves out there. No covering. No protection. You know what I mean? Just walking blind and deaf. A lot of us are. Let me see. And have no one, dang, that's crazy, I didn't read that. And have no one to protect them, no one to take them back home, because the seed of Dawid is not risen up yet. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, this part is talking about before the deliverance. This is before the deliverance, this part right here. It's not like it's talking about the deliverance part in the top half of this chapter and book. This is the bottom half of it. So this is why it's saying that. Sometimes when you read in this book, you got to discern it and kind of place it where it needs to place, because it's not in chronological order. They did that on purpose, of course. But then it says, verse 23, who will hear these lessons from the past? See, this is what Isaiah 53 is talking about. Who shall believe our report, or who shall believe what we have heard? Because that is our forefathers speaking to us, the descendants. So it's like, who will hear these lessons from the past? The lessons are the testimonies. Who will listen, right? And see the ruins that await you in the future. Who allowed Yasharallah to be robbed and hurt? It was Ahia. So you can't be mad at your enemies and your oppressors. It's not their fault. Remember, it is Ahia who did it. He allowed them to do it. Be mad at yourself, your forefathers, your descendants. Be mad at them. Not at the oppressors. I can't be mad at the oppressor, because Ahia sent them. So why be mad at them? They only doing what he allowed. All people can only do what he allowed, and them specifically is doing what he allowed because he sent them. Then it says, who allowed Yasharallah to be robbed and hurt? It was Ahia, against whom we sinned. But we sinned against Ahia. For the people would not walk in this path, nor would they obey his law. Right? Our forefathers didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So this, like, time and time before, we read that they turned from the way of Ahia. The king, the high priest, the priesthood, Eventually the people turned from the path, went into idols and images. You know. Then it says, verse 25, therefore Ahiah poured out his fury on them and destroyed them in battle. They were enveloped in flames, but they still refused to understand. Even through refinement, we still refuse to understand, even to this day. But they still refuse to understand. They were consumed by fire, but did not learn their lesson. When you read that Daniel chapter 12, it's going to talk about the trials. It's talking about the trials that Ahiah has put us through during the time of the reign of our oppressor. You know, it's because it talks about specifically about matter of fact, let me just go to it right quick. I forgot, I'm right here in the book. Let me just go to it. Is it even in 12? Isn't it 12? Oh yeah, here we go. Verse 10. Many will be purified, cleansed, and refined by these trials. But hold on, let's go up one. Verse 9. But he said, go now, Daniel, for what I have said is kept secret and sealed until the time of the end. This is the time of the end. Many will be purified, cleansed, and refined by these trials. The curses going into these captivities is to purify and cleanse and refine you by your journey, by these trials, these curses. And it says, but the wicked will continue in their wickedness, and none of them will understand. Only those who are wise will know what it means. And I just want to read that part and end off right there to say that we must humble ourselves. We must be able to humble ourselves, come before Ahiah, and be purified and be cleansed, and understand these curses are a trial for us to turn from our wicked ways, to consider to humble ourselves and cry out before Ahiah. You know, we're not in this situation waking up knowing who we are to be self-righteous and prideful and arrogant and thinking that we can be justified by being super holy, keeping every feast day, keeping every law, as if we don't have to still cry out and confess of our iniquities and iniquities of our forefathers, of their guilt and our guilt. You know, so I'm just going to end it off with that. So hopefully it came off good. Peace, y'all.